All right, good afternoon, YouTube. I'm John Crawford. Welcome back to the John Crawford School of Music. Today, as you can see, what I have in store for you today is a quick lesson on the acoustic part of More Than a Feeling by Boston. A great, awesome classic rock song. There's a lot that goes on in this tune, and we're going to be covering just some of the more mainline things that you find in the acoustic guitar part. If you would like to hear a cover that I did of this several years ago, you can see that this is a really big song. It's got a lot of tracks and a lot of stuff going on. I'm just going to be covering the acoustic guitar part of it. I don't have Brad Delp's voice. That cover is instrumental, but it's still pretty neat. Okay, so we're going to get right with it, but first I'd like to say a couple of things. One, I'd like you all to check out the playlist that I have over here on my channel called Sung by Paula. It's a bunch of stuff that I recorded of me playing and my wife singing. It's just stuff I'd like y'all to check out. I think you'll enjoy some of that. I also want to say that I've picked up quite a few subscribers in the last few weeks, and I really appreciate that and all the great comments that I've received. Guys, keep it coming, and if you have any requests or anything that you'd like for me to cover on the channel, just let me know. You can write those down in the comments section below, or you can send me emails. I'll try to find time to put my email address in either my tags or in my or in the comments or someplace or in the description of the video when I get this all taken care of. So we're going to just jump right into this. Oh, I wanted to mention one other thing. I do offer online music lessons. I use Facebook Messenger video chat right now, and I use FaceTime for those that I can use FaceTime with. If you would like to know more about that, again, I'll put my email down here somewhere where you can find it and you can contact me about all of that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get on with it. We're going to cover More Than a Feeling. We're going to start with the most iconic part, and that's the intro and the verse section of the song. Like I said, I'm not Brad Delp. I'm not even going to attempt to sing this one, but we'll go ahead and jump right into this. All right, so I'm going to play it, then I'm going to talk about it. So let's talk about what's going on here. One of the things that I do when I'm teaching my students to play this song, especially those who haven't been playing guitar very long, is I teach them the basic skills that you need. The basic skills here are a D major chord, a C major chord, and a G major chord, like that, or like that, like that. You know, there's like 10 million different ways to play a G chord, but D, C, and G. Okay, for this particular part, what the right hand needs to be doing is that basically. So let me just talk about D, C, and G real quick. There's a ton of YouTube lessons on how to play these three chords. I think I've even got something on my channel that regards that. But anyway, I'll cover it really quickly here. A D chord looks like this. You're going to have your middle finger on the 3rd fret of E, your ring finger on the 3rd fret of B, and your index finger on the 2nd fret of G. So it's 2 on E, 3 on B, and 2 on G. 2, 3, and 2. Like that. You're going to play the bottom 4 strings. You've got a D chord. The C major chord is ring finger on the A string here, 3rd fret, ring finger, 3rd fret of A. Middle finger, 2nd fret of D, open G, and index finger on the 1st fret of B. 3, 2, 0, 3 fretwise. I'm going over these quickly. Like I said, there's a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right on this today. Lastly, we have a G major chord, 3rd fret of E, 3rd fret of low E, 2nd fret of A. Leave G, B, and D open, and pick the pinky up down here on the bottom of E. That's the way I play a G major chord. Those are the basic skills that you need. Let me talk to you about the order. It's another practice tool for building up how to play this song. D, C, and G. D, C, and G. Okay, that's a good way to get started with this one. You could actually sing it. I woke up this morning and the sun was gone. You could do that. You could make it work. If you're just learning how to play the guitar, you're rather new to it. Then what we do is we get into how to play the actual arpeggios and picking patterns that we do to make this thing what it really is and what makes it so amazing. Yes, I know it's played on a 12-string guitar, but I just happen to have my 6-string available today. So here we go. Let's talk about just that. So what you're going to do is you're making your D chord like that, like we talked about. Now we're also going to be playing a D sus4. Let's talk about that chord before we get too much further into this. A D sus4 chord is basically like a D chord that we talked about earlier. 2, 3, 2. But then, while you've got your fingers on 2, 3, and 2, put your pinky on the 3rd fret of E, so it sounds like this. I'm sorry, I can't zoom in, I'm shooting alone. Okay. So it's pinky on the 3rd fret of E, ring finger on the 3rd fret of B, and index finger on the 2nd fret of G. While you also leave your, and I just kind of do this, I leave my middle finger on the 2nd fret of E, because it's kind of one of those things where you can put it down and pick it up like that, and you get that sort of sound. So if you want more information about that, there are great lessons out here about the D sus4 chord. That sus stands for suspend, the D sus4 chord, and that will give you information about how to do that. So what you're going to be dealing with, going back to the arpeggios again. So you're going to start with a D major chord like this, and you're going to pick the D string. You're going to leave your fingers all in this normal D major shape. You're going to pick the D string, the B string, and you're going to pick the G string. Like I said, fingers going to be on those frets. So practice just that. Now your pinky comes down onto the 3rd fret of E. So let's get that in there. Let me do it another time. You're going to pick the D string, B string, G string, 3rd fret of E with the pinky, like that. Let's do that a couple times. Do that with me. Go back and rewind it if you need to. Let's do it one more time. Now we're going to add another note. We're going to add the open D string. We're going to come back to this D string like this. And then you're going to pick up your pinky after that. So we're going to get this. I'm going to do this slowly. D, B, G, E with the pinky, open D, and then E without the pinky, 2nd fret. You're lifting the pinky up. Now we're going to add a little bit more. You're just going to be plucking the B string and the G string like this. So you're going D, B, G, 3rd fret of E, open D, 2nd fret of E, and then B, G. Go back and rewind if you need to. D, B, G, E, open D, 2nd fret of E, and then B, G. Now I'm going to do this a few times very slowly. Let's do it again a little bit more slow. And one more time very slowly. One more time. That's the arpeggio surrounding the D and D sus4 chords, like this. Now you're going to go to a C chord, but what you're going to do is you're going to turn that C chord into a C9, a C add 9. A C add 9 is a C chord, just like I showed you a minute ago, but you're going to add the pinky to the 3rd fret of B. So the chord sounds like this. If you want to stop right here and go do some research, the chord is called C add 9. That's the letter C, add, and then the number 9. C add 9. So, what you're going to do is this. Then you're going to go to a C add 9 chord. You're going to strike the A string. Then you're going to strike the B string. And the G string, like this. Let's just do that. Remember that your fingers are on the C add 9 chord. You're striking the A string, the B string, which has your pinky, on the 3rd fret, and then your G string. Now, here comes the tricky part. At least this is the way I do it, alright? So you're going to go C add 9, that's the A, B, G. Then the picking pattern is going to be the same with the right hand, but you're going to pick up the middle finger, put it on the 2nd fret of A, making a B note. Pinky stays on the 3rd fret of B, and the G is open. Again, 2nd finger on A. That is, the 2nd fret of A with the middle finger. I should have said that more clearly. The 2nd fret of A with the middle finger, the pinky on the 3rd fret of B with the open G, like this. So those two things in order. C add 9 with the A, B, G, then pinky on the 3rd fret of B, middle finger on the 2nd fret of A. So let me get that. Really what it amounts to is you just lift up your middle finger and move it up a string. It sounds more complicated than it is. And then, finally, you're just going to put your ring finger on the E string on the G note, 3rd fret. Pinky stays on the 3rd fret of B on the D note. And you catch the E string and the B string like that. So all of that in sequence. So just to make sure we're clear, C add 9, A, B string, G string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of A, then the B string, 3rd fret with the pinky, strike the open G, and then just put the pinky, leave the pinky where it is on B, 3rd fret of E with the ring finger, and that's what that should sound like. I'm going to go back and play this again very slowly. Let me do it again, nice and slow. And you can hear that with the bass guitar going like this. 2, 3. And you can hear that through the verse. Now, after you get all the way through the verse, when he goes into I close my eyes and I slip away, Again, I'm not Brad Delp, I'm not singing that. This is how I do it. So I'm going to do that slowly. You're basically doing a C add 9 chord. Over the C9 chord, you're going to go, I'm going to do this very slowly because there's a lot to think about. A, D, B, G, E. So do it like this. A, D, B, G, E. Let's do that a couple times. A, D, B, G, E. And then you're going to come back down to B, G, and D. A, D, B, G, E, B, G, D. Those are the strings over a C add 9 chord. Do it again. Then, I'm not exactly sure what they're doing here. I just know it works. I know a G chord works over this, so I use one of these handy dandy little G5 chords. That's the one with the ring and pinky on frets 3 of B and E, and the middle finger on fret 3 of the low E, killing the A string with your finger, like that, because it works. So basically what we have is C add 9, then the pattern is very similar. E, D, B, G, E, D, B, G, then E, B, G, D. Yeah, no, this is tricky. Take your time with this. Go back and rewind as many times as you need to. So it sounds like this. Let me do this a couple more times. Let me do this a couple more times, nice and slow. Couple more times. One more time at tempo. There we go. That goes into the part where the part where the guitar kicks in and we get into the chorus. Simple. A minor. That's how I do it. A minor, G, D. I'm going to do all of it up to this point. So, the last little bit. I'm not going to go into the strumming pattern in any real depth, but basically it's just A minor, and then D, 1 da 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 da. I'll do this. Or now, the chorus. There are several ways to handle this chorus part. You can play it in straight acoustic chords. Do this slowly. Again, like I said, I'm not going to really dive into these strum patterns. E minor for a second. Open E, second fret of A, second fret of D. That's middle and ring finger. Then the rest of the guitar open. C, G, C, C, E minor, and G, C, C, E. So that is your basic chorus, going like that. So your chorus part, basically, that's a G, C, C, E minor, D. So you go through that like 4 times, something like that. Chord, I just play a triad up here. That's just the way I do it. That isn't. And then, we'll get into that in a minute. You can play an E flat chord like this by barring 3rd fret of E, B, and G. Then the middle finger on the 4th fret. That's 3, 3, 3, 4th fret on the B. And then your 5th fret on your D string, like this. That's another method for playing an E flat major chord. This is actually a little easier. It's basically the same thing. You have a little bit more backup in your bass. You can always stick your pinky up here, and I don't like doing that because I sound terrible when I do that. So I just do it here because it's just easier. Or you can do a bar chord, and I always cheat on my major bar chord here. So basically, let me go back through this chorus again. G, C, C, E minor, C, C, E minor. Now if you want to practice this, just simply G, G, C, C, E minor, D, D. Now the other approach is if you're playing an electric guitar or you're going for a more pure sound, a more pure electrical sound, you can always do power chords. Let me do that again. One more time with the chorus all the way up to the E flat. You can always go up to the 6th fret, play that bar chord here, or you can do this, or you can do this. The E flat chord I mentioned before where you do a partial bar. If you're feeling really adventurous, stick your pinky up here. So there are some options for the chorus using straight acoustic chords. So moving on into another way to play the chorus is with power chords. You can do a G power chord. If you're playing an electric guitar, then that's where you would go with this. Let me just give you the basic power chord shape. Starting with a G power chord, 3rd fret of E, 5th fret of A. And then a C power chord, 3rd fret of A, 5th fret of D, and then 7th fret of A, 7th fret of A, 9th fret of D to make your E power chord, and then 5th fret of A, 7th fret of D to make your D power chord. So, you go through that, you play it basically with the same strumming pattern. There's your E flat right there. E flat is the 6th fret of E, 6th fret of A, 8th fret of D. Okay, going into I See My Marianne Walking Away. And it goes back into this here. So that's basically it. So what you're going to do there is I like to do this because this is kind of what they're doing. They're doing an upward pick stroke, kind of sweeping along the strings with an E minor chord. And then strumming back down. That's kind of a thing I like to do because that's kind of what my ear is picking up in the recording. Major chord, that's going to be ring, middle, and index. Ring on the 2nd fret of B, middle finger on the 2nd fret of G, index finger on the 2nd fret of D. And you're just going to strum that. So you're going to go E minor, A. Now you're going to arpeggiate again. It's complicated. Let me make sure I get this right. So you're going to be going back to your G chord after the A. Make a regular garden variety G chord. Now, you're going to be plucking the E string. This is all going to be with your fingers on a G shape. The E string. And then you're going to do the G string, the D string, and then you're going to do the E string with your pinky on the 3rd, like that. I had to make sure I did that right. Whoops. Now I like to call this a walk down. Now I'm picking up my middle finger, putting it on the 2nd fret of E, then plucking so I'm going the G note, which is the 3rd fret of E, E, and then B strings over a G chord. I'm going to make sure to not skip anything. There's a lot in this tune. Then the middle finger over the 2nd fret of the E, back to your E string and B string, so it goes like this. And what I do here is I go just to a straight E note, so it goes like this. And then I make a D chord and go all the way back to the top. Okay, so that is basically your verses and your chorus. Okay, so I'm going to play the whole thing, a verse and a chorus all the way through, and that way you can kind of follow the context. I'm going to do it kind of slow. You can try to jam along if you want to. Start with chords. Now I'll do the power chord. Back to chords. C minor, A. Now to a G chord. Now walk it down. There's your verses and choruses. Okay guys, let's go ahead and quickly cover the bridge section that contains the guitar solo. This is not intended to cover the guitar solo section, but we'll go ahead and cover the bridge section which contains the chord structure. Okay, we're just covering the chords, so I'm just going to cover acoustic chords because that's the best way to do it, I think. And this is my own interpretation. It starts with a B minor, A, G, D, A sus4, and back to an A. So let's just cover that first. B minor. If you don't know how to make a B minor, there's a couple ways. One is your basic B minor bar chord form, which is basically barring the second fret of everything except for your E string. Your pinky and your ring cover the fourth fret of your D and G strings, while your middle finger covers the third fret of your B string. So you're going B minor here. Or, if you don't want to do a bar chord, your index finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger cover the second fret of E, the third fret of B, and the fourth fret of G. You can do it one of two ways. That's an A major chord, we've covered it. E, then A sus4, which is basically an A chord with your pinky on the third fret of B. At least that's the way I'm hearing it, so we'll go back to it again. B minor, A, G, A sus4, 2 and A, 2, 3. Now the guitar solo. B minor, A. B minor, A. B minor, A. B minor, G. Excuse me. B minor, A. G, 2, 3. Walk it down like. Okay, so what happens after that is you come back out to a D, go back to your verses. Alright guys, there's a lot to cover in that song. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask. Again, I appreciate all the new subs that we've got out there. Please remember to leave your requests in the comment section or any questions that you have. If you would like to contact me about guitar lessons online, I am glad to talk to you about that. And anything else that you'd like to holler at me about, again, thank you guys for taking the time to watch today. I hope that you got something out of this. And in the meantime, you guys take it easy. Peace and God bless.